Jayo Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Sri Radhe. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada. Shri Radha Madhava ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from Bhagavad-Gita chapter 10. Yeah, I would like to talk. It's okay? Finish English? Yeah. We'll talk about Bhagavad-Gita chapter number 10, the opulence of the Absolute, verse number 35. Brihatsama tata samnan Gayatri chandasam aham Masana marga shirshoham Ritunam kusumakaraha Brihatsama tata samnam Gayatri chandasamaham Masana marga shirshoham Ritunam kusumakaraha Ritunam kusumakaraha. Please, huh? It's an R mit Punkten. It's an R with a Ritunam. Rihatsama tata samnam Gayatri chandasamaham Sirshoham Ritunam kusumakaraha. Asana marga sirshoham Ritunam kusamakara. Messages. Brihatsama tata samnam Brihatsama, the Brihatsama, Tata, also, Samnam, of the Sama, Veda songs, of the Sama Veda songs, Gayatri, the Gayatri hymns, or hymns, Chandasam, of all poetry, Aham, I am, Masanam, of months, Margashirsha, the month of November, December, Aham, I am. Ritunam, of all seasons. Kusuma Akaraha, spring. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Of the hymns in the Sama Veda, I am the Brihat Sama, and of poetry, I am the Gayatri. Of months, I am Margashirsha, November, December, and of seasons, I am flower-bearing spring. Purport. It has already been explained by the Lord that amongst all the Vedas, he is the Sama Veda. The Sama Veda is rich with beautiful songs played by the various demigods. One of these songs is the Brihat Sama, which has an exquisite melody and is sung at midnight. In Sanskrit, there are definite rules that regulate poetry. Rhyme and meter are not written whimsically, as in much modern poetry. Amongst the regulated poetry, the Gayatri Mantra, which is chanted by the duly qualified Brahmanas, is the most prominent. The Gayatri Mantra is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because the Gayatri Mantra is specially meant for God realization, it represents the Supreme Lord. This mantra is meant for spiritually advanced people, and when one attains success in chanting it, he can enter into the transcendental position of the Lord. One must first acquire the qualities of the perfectly situated person, the qualities of goodness according to the laws of material nature, in order to chant the Gayatri Mantra. The Gayatri Mantra is very important in Vedic civilization and is considered to be the sound incarnation of Brahman. Brahma is its initiator, and it is passed down from him in disciplic succession. The month of November-December is considered the best of all months because in India grains are collected from the fields at this time and the people become very happy. Of course, spring is a season universally liked because it is neither too hot nor too cold, and the flowers and trees blossom and flourish. In spring, there are also many ceremonies commemorating Krishna's pastimes. Therefore, this is considered to be the most joyful of all seasons, and it is the representative of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Om Ajnana-Tirmandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So one more time the verse. Brihat Samatata Samnam Gayatri Chandasam Aham Masanam Marga Shirshoham Ritunam Kusuma Karaha. Of the hymns in the Sama Veda, I am the Brihat Sama, and of poetry, I am the Gayatri. Of months, I am the Marga Shirsha, November, December, and of seasons, I am flower-bearing spring. Hare Krishna. So, thank you all for being here. First of all, I would like to ask the blessings of all my seniors who are present here, which is technically all of you. And today we are talking about this verse in Bhagavad-Gita entitled The Opulence of the Absolute. This chapter is not the only chapter that is mentioning the, let's say, manifestations or the greatness and opulence of Krishna. And the main thing is, why is it talking about the opulence of Krishna here? Because Arjuna was stating at a couple of verses before that, how am I supposed to see you? Like, I'm paraphrasing now, but how am I supposed to understand you or see you in this physical world? And Krishna is expressing his manifestations and how he is actually can be seen everywhere. So, and this is an important point generally, not only in this chapter, not only in the Bhagavad-Gita, but also in all the Vedas, in the Srimad Bhagavatam also specifically, that is describing the characteristics of the absolute truth. So Prabhupada always described Krishna, he gave this naming as the absolute truth, and if we want to say the opposite of the absolute is the relative, but in the spiritual world where it's absolute, it means that the name is not different from the named, so the sound is actually not different from the person. Like I think Sanjay Prabhu mentioned a couple of days ago in the lecture that in the Sanskrit language, it's actually the syllables or the words are actually not different from the object. So what is it? What it's about here that that it's important to know this information because our mind cannot comprehend what is this absoluteness, and it is very important to have faith in the absoluteness of God because it can very much determines our spiritual practice, let's say. So the scriptures are describing the almightiness of God, and we all know all other religions and sorry, louder. Okay, sorry, this microphone is so light. Okay, so it's better. Es gibt ein Solo-Knopf über die 11 und 12, ja? Es gibt 11 und 12 und dann da gibt es Solo. Agastya Prabhu, can you hear us? Of course, it's by the mercy of Agastya Prabhu that we are giving lectures, because he said, okay, this is too much, I'm giving lecture every week. You guys also should give lectures, so a rascal like me is allowed to sit here, so please tolerate me. So again, like everybody say God is almighty, God is great, and I also know this in different languages, why God is almighty, is all great, but how great is he? We don't know that he is actually absolute, and the meaning of why should we be convinced that he is absolute? So like here it is said that we can see him in his different manifestations. So at other points, Krishna is saying, at other points, Krishna is saying, I am the taste of water, I am the heat, the cold, and the light of the sun, and so on. And for us, it's most relevant to know this, and what we hear always, that the holy name is not different from Krishna. So we should build up this faith that what does it really mean that God is absolute, so that we understand that Krishna is actually the taste of water, or Krishna is actually this praise of this plate of prasada in front of me is not different from Krishna. This form, the murti in front of me is actually Krishna. And so on, and also ultimately the holy name is not different from Krishna. But so the Shastra is very meant to convince us about this absoluteness of God so that we can feel his presence. And the first thing is Krishna is saying here is that of the hymns, I'm the Samaveda. The Samaveda is one of the 4 Vedas, let's say, and it's technically talking about the rules and concepts about Sama means melodies or songs, and it's talking about actually the rules how to chant. It has mantras, and it's saying how to chant these mantras. So, and Prabhupada is saying in the purport that it's not like modern poetry that is just chanted whimsically. There's actually certain rules. And the next thing he's saying, I'm the Gayatri mantra. Of the poetry, I am the Gayatri. I can't say much about the Gayatri since I'm not chanting it. But Gayat means sense. And Tri means to deliver. So Gayatri is deliver us from sense, like mantra. Mantra is manas, mantra. Manas trayati iti mantra. Manas is the mind, and trayati is also to deliver. So to deliver the mind, and in this case, Gayatri mantra, it's like the sin, deliverance, and then again, mind, deliverance. And there are 3 aspects of the Gayatri mantra. The first one is the bij. Bij means, we know this like from Bhaktilata bij. Bij means seed. And the second one is nama, which is the name. And the third one is nyasa, which is how the mantra should be chanted. So the all the Gayatri mantras, of course, there is not only one Gayatri mantra. There are different Gayatri mantras, and in our case, I think the Brahmanas know this better, that they are chanting 7 Gayatri mantras, like Brahma Gayatri, Kama Gayatri, and so on. I take this as a yes. And so each Gayatri mantra has these 3 parts, which are the bij, the seed, and the nama, the name, who we are addressing. Like in the case of Brahma mantra, it's said Bhur Bhuva Om Bhur Bhuva Swa Tat Savitur Varinyam, and this is like addressing the Bhur Loka, Bhuva Loka, Svar Loka, and ultimately above them all the Sun God. So the addressed here is being the Sun God, or these planetary systems. We are praying for the Sun God. And at the end, the Nyas, which is said, means that who do I meditate upon. So this is the 3 parts of the Gayatri mantra. But interesting thing about, like in our case, the most relevant for us is the Maha mantra. It doesn't have these 3 parts. It consists of Nama and Nam, and also Nam. So it's just made of Nam, Hare Krishna Maha mantra. So the Gayatri mantra also, we all know that this is chanted within the mind, and that's why it can't be done as kirtan. Like there's nowadays people chanting the Gayatri in music, and this is actually kind of useless, because first of all, not because it's chanted loud, because mainly it is not coming from disciplic succession, so it will not have any use. The bond is simply not there. But also mantras are chanted in the mind can be as good, as powerful as chanted loudly. And it is important for us to know the science of chanting, because once we know the science of chanting, then it becomes more powerful, you can say. And if you know the science of chanting, you would also be more serious. You would have more faith in the process. So the power or the benefit of any process is depending on 3 things. First one is the power of the process itself, the spirit of the spiritual practice, let's say. The second one is the power of the practitioner. And the third one is the most interesting, I find, is the understanding that lies beneath, the understanding that underlies this practice, like how much understanding I am as a practitioner. And there's the chanting of the chanting process, which is the mantra. And there's the third aspect, my understanding to this process. So how much understanding do I have in this process? And this, in our role, it plays a very, very big role, maybe even the first one. So again, the power of the process itself, the power of the practitioner, which is for, let's say, like at the beginning it's not so much, because it's kind of depending on the purity and the intention. And the third one is the understanding that underlies this chanting process. So the understanding of this science of the chanting, or let's say of the sound, is very important, especially in the Vedic culture. The Vedic culture, they call it like culture of sound. It's like a sonic culture, whereas everything was done with mantras, everything was done with sound. Whereas the Western culture is a culture of images, technically. It's just not only images in the sense of seeing, there is also sound, but it's senseless sound. It's gross, very gross, and it's technically culture of senses, the Western culture, we can say, but the Vedic culture is actually a culture of sound. And when we are saying about sound, there are 4 aspects of sounds according to the Veda science. The first one, let's start with the most gross one. So the first part of the sound, you can say, is the Vaikari. The Vaikari is the most gross. It's actually what we hear, like what our ear, the first thing it hears. And it can also be any sound. It doesn't have to be, like a spiritual sound like mantra. It can be like, or like sounds that are actually not so, meaningless. And the second part is Madhyama. And Madhyama now it's getting more subtle. So the first one is very gross. The second one is Madhyama, is actually on the thought. So our thoughts are actually considered to be sound. So, and also according to the modern science, to the neuroscience, we know that the thoughts have actually energy, and it's technically what's going inside the mind. This person, always talking to us. This is also sound, but it's more subtle than the first one. The third one is Pashyanti. Pashyanti, maybe the word is similar, familiar to you. Pashyanti means to see. And now it's getting more subtle. It's on the level of desire. And the fourth one and the last is Parabhak. Parabhak is also already transcendental, but the first three are still material. So the Pashyanti is like on the level of desire. That's why it means to see. Interesting that in Sanskrit, the sages are called rishis, and rishi means one who sees, one who has seen actually the sound, one who has seen mantra. So how to apply this? Like in our case, this what I mentioned now. Okay, there's a gross sound, that's what we hear now through the ears, and then there's the sound in the thoughts, and then there is more subtle is the Pashyanti, which is desire, like what does it mean, sound on a desire level, and then there is the transcendental sound, like Prabhupada used to call the Mahamantra, transcendental sound vibration. So I don't know if it's still here. For the lecture that Sri Gauranga Prabhu, it's away? Oh, okay. It's okay. So the first one is the mantra. When we are chanting, actually it's affecting our body or our gross body on a physical level. It's not only affecting our thoughts. So we are hearing the sound of the mantra, it's going through the ears and we are hearing it. And then on the level of the thoughts, that means it's going to our mind. If we are chanting consciously, then it's affecting the mind also. But it's also kind of purifying the mind, you can say. And from here, the vantage point starts actually, that the sound is going on the mind level, and as soon as the thoughts are purified, then we know that our actions and behavior also becomes changed, purified. So, and when the mind is purified and the thoughts are purified, that means that we're going now to the third level, which is still material but subtle, is the Pashyanti, is that our desires are becoming purified. So when our desires are becoming purified, that's a win situation, because once you purify your mind and then therefore your desires are purified, you change our karma. So when the karma is purified, it's not purified. When the karma is changed, when the desires is changed, the karma is changed, meaning that actually our desires are a manifestation of our karma. Our actions, our movements, our decisions, everything is based due to karma. So when we are changing our desires from the gross to, when we are changing this, our being, when we are changing our being from a gross to a more subtle level, to the thoughts, and then to the desires, and then to the karma, then we are changing our whole being. And yeah, this is the main point, that once our thoughts are pure, we are starting from there. And so there's a nice verse I learned somehow. It's like a formula given to chant, how to chant, the formula for chanting actually. And this is like from the Hari Bhakta Vilas, and it is, you can find it in the Hari Bhakta Vilas 17th stanza, and it said, Mana Samharanam Shaucham. So Mana Samharanam, this is the first condition for chanting. Mana Samharanam, Mana is the mind, and Samharanam is to bring together. So we are bringing together the mind. Shaucham is the purity. Mana Samharanam Shaucham, Maunam, Maunam Mantrartha Shintanam, Avyagratvam Anirvido Mantra Sampate Hitava. Mana Samharanam Shaucham, it's first of all is to bring the mind together, and the second condition is purity. So it's either purity of the body or the inner purity, also the purity of the mind, purity of the intention for chanting. And the third one is maunam, silence. And we know in our case how is silence defined. It's not like I don't speak anything except the mantra. It's more, we don't speak anything, any nonsense, anything non-Krishna relevant topics. No, yeah. And the third one is mantrartha chintanam. Mantra and artha means wealth, or in this case it's meaning. So mantrartha chintanam is to meditate. So we should meditate upon the meaning, upon the wealth of the mantra. Avyagratvam anirvido. Avyagratvam is to be cool about something, meaning that you do not worry. You have no fear, you don't worry. Avyagratvam anirvido. Anirvido means self-confidence. So you can say self-confidence or bold also. So again, the conditions is bring the mind together, manasam haranam, shaucham, purity, maunam, silence, mantrartha chintanam, to meditate upon the meaning of the mantra. The fifth one is avyagratvam, is being self-confidence, or also avyagratvam. Anirvido is being self-confident. A nice also translation for it, not depressed. Like you're not chanting Hare Krishna, or just an example. This is not just a formula for chanting Maha Mantra. It's just given generally for mantras. But you're chanting actually with enthusiasm, and this enthusiasm is ultimately coming from faith in the mantra, that yes, I'm chanting and I'm certain about the results. Japa sampate hitava. So japa sampate is the treasure, hitava is achieved. So that's like the 5 conditions how to achieve the wealth of the japa. Another verse that is also very beautiful from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Iti, sorry, it's too small for me. Iti murti abhadhanena mantra murtim amurtikam yajati yagya purusham sa samyak darshanaha puman. And the translation is, thus he is the actual seer, Rishi. Thus he is the actual seer who worships in the form of transcendental sound representation the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who has no material form. Again, thus he is the actual seer who worships in the form of the transcendental sound representation the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, who has no material form. So, like here, the definition of the seer is actually one who is worshipping Krishna in the form of the sound. And this is again like for first time when you hear the form in the sound, how can be the form in the sound? But like we are singing Guna Rupa Naman, Madhurya Guna Rupa Naman. So there's always we're starting with the name, we're starting actually with the hearing. We're going to the qualities, to the form, qualities, and then ultimately to the lila. And the important thing to know that the hearing is actually always there. It's not like we're starting with the hearing. Prabhupada told us you should hear the mantra, and it's not like you're starting with the hearing and then once you enter the qualities or once you enter the form, then there is no hearing anymore. But hearing is always parallel to this ascending process. So here it becomes hearing plus form, hearing plus qualities, and hearing plus pastimes. So hearing is always there. It is the beginning, but it's not like as soon as we make some spiritual development, it's gone. So yeah, this is like this is actually why is it so important to understand the science of sound for us. It is the process in Kali Yoga, like Kali Kali Nama Rupa Krishna Avatar. Krishna has manifested himself, again back to the absoluteness. Krishna has manifested himself in Kali Yoga in the sound, either in Maha Mantra or what other sound manifestations of Krishna in Kali Yoga. Srimad Bhagavatam. Can you say Bhagavad-Gita? I'm always skeptic about this point. I don't know if I'm speculating when I say Bhagavad-Gita. Srimad Bhagavatam, like there's a verse Shiva is saying that one is asking him about the importance of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he's saying every story, every verse, not even every verse, every word, and now he like goes extreme. Every syllable is actually like so important because it's not different from Krishna. And again, like, why is it so important for us to study Shastra? Because Shastra is telling us always again and again how Krishna is so mighty that he is absolute. And what's the meaning of absolute? That he is really none different from his manifestations, from his expansions. So, like, today I wanted to ask a question, Govinda Dev Prabhu, but I forgot it at the end. Like, we were talking about there is a lot of Sankhya philosophy now in the part we're going in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the thought of Krishna is not different from Krishna. It's also purifying. And now in this topic we're talking here about the name or the sound that is not different from Krishna. It's absolute. But like, the question comes like, is the thought actually different from the sound? I don't know if anybody can give an answer. Like, because we mentioned now that there are 4 manifestations of sound. The first one is gross, what we hear, and the second one is on the thought level. So actually even the thought is considered to be sound. Like even the remembrance of Krishna, Smriti Sakala Kalyana Bhajana, even the remembrance of Krishna brings all auspiciousness. Smriti, the remembrance, Sakala Kalyana Bhajanam. Sakala Kalyana, all auspiciousness. Bhajanam is a reservoir. Bhajanam yatra jayate purushas tam ajam nityam brajami sharanam harim. Like, just the remembrance of Lord Hari, who is the unborn eternal, brings all auspiciousness. So what to speak about chanting his name? Or so yes, and I think in this point we can end. We can start taking questions, comments, if anybody would like to share something. Yeah. Of the hymns in the Sama Veda, I am the Brihat Sama, and of poetry I am the Gayatri. Of months I am Marga Shirsha, November, December, and of seasons I am flower-bearing spring. So now you know why I asked you about the Gayatri mantra today morning. Yeah. Prabhu.
You have some source? You have some source. You mentioned we should have faith in ourselves, in the process which we perform, and we should have understanding of that process also.
So the power, I think, I will look it up for you, but now like I'm not so sure, kind of sure that this is coming from Bhakti Sandarbha, from Jiva Goswami, that the power of the process is depending on 3 aspects. So of any spiritual process, may it be chanting or may it be a yagya or deity worship. So there are 3 aspects for how much benefit you get from this process. And the first one is the power of the process. Like, are you chanting Nam or Hari Nam, or are you chanting some nonsense, or are you singing some mundane song? So the process is externally the same, but so the first aspect is the power of the process. The second one is the power of the practitioner who is doing the process. And the third one, which is, okay, if not the first, the second important one out of the 3 is the understanding that underlies the process. So how much understanding do I have for chanting it, you know? Of course, holy name, so powerful. You don't need to understand anything. But, you know, like, if you understand the meaning, if you put the prayer in there, then it's different. Because like we said, like, this also Sri Gauranga drew like a nice sketch here, that from the ear, from the most subtle, from the most gross, it's going through the mind. And now let's not see them like as levels: mind, intelligence, manas, buddhi, ahankara, and then ultimately comes the atma. So the sound is penetrating all of these, and it's starting on a gross level, and it's going through the mind, the thoughts, and then the buddhi, the intelligence, and to the ahankara. But again, how to relate this to the understanding for the process? It's actually about the thought. that I am putting in while doing this process. So I'm understand, and Prabhupada is giving us the desire. Like if you look at the translation of the Maha Mantra by Prabhupada, he is telling us already the buddhi level and in the ahankara level how the ideal mood should be. So it's okay, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Transcendental vibration, definitely. But then comes the thought, so what am I thinking about? Am I hearing these words, or am I hearing this holy name or not? And then the buddhi, the intelligence, which is, like we said, the desires. What is my desire? Please engage me in your loving devotional service. And then the ahankara, in which ego are you putting this? In which mood are you putting this? Mood with a servant. So if these conditions are not there, you millions of lifetimes, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. If there's no understanding, if we are just doing it automatically, then I'm sorry if I don't know if I'm qualified to say this, but I'm not saying this myself. But there is no. You're not chanting holy name technically. If there is no understanding for what are you chanting, then actually the holy name is not present. Krishna is simply not there. Of course, he is there, but you're not there. So yeah, this is. Sorry for the wrong answer. I can look it up for you. It's most probably from Jiva Goswami Bhaktisandarbha. These 3 conditions for getting the ultimate benefit of a certain process.
Ich hatte mal beim Harinam eine Dame getroffen, ungefähr mein Alter, vielleicht ein bisschen jünger als ich. Ja, und die sagt, oh, ist das Buch, kommt da der heilige Name drin vor? Und der hat ja solche Wirkung. Sie kam gerade den Tag, als wir sie getroffen haben, von der Beerdigung ihres Mannes und sagt, sie war so traurig und dann hat sie geschäntet und das war so wunderbar. Auf einmal geht es ihr ganz anders, was der heilige Name so für Kraft hat. Also sie hat das so gelobt und ich war richtig sprachlos. Das habe ich noch von keinem gehört, der davon so fasziniert war, dass das bei ihm innerlich so viel verändert hat. So, ja, haben sicherlich schon etliche so erlebt, aber sie war davon so überwältigt und das war jemand, der mich auf der Straße angesprochen hat, ja. Also ich war richtig gerührt so.
Ja, wir spüren das auch. We feel this sometimes also. That sometimes like today, I have to be honest, like it was a bad timing, but during the Guru Puja, I'm going down to the toilet, and like sometimes I'm up there in my room, like either taking a rest or reading, or not to read, associating with the holy name, let's say, in one way or the other, and then I come down and just passing the stairs down there or going up, and then I feel like there is somebody in the temple room, because you're singing and you feel the presence of the holy name. We also have experiences with the kirtan. We're just, chanting, okay, kartal, mirdanga, harmonium. It's amazing, but it's missing. Something is missing, and this is our mood. This is actually because we're not hearing the holy name, because I don't know, for some reason we're not getting the real experience, the transcendental experience. We're just based on the mind level. But we hear it also a lot when some new people, they hear the holy name and they feel the holy name. Why? Kannst du was dazu sagen, bitte? Can you say something? Why some new people feel the holy name and then afterwards what? We make offenses? Or we start having not the proper mood, the false ahankara maybe we put when chanting? Yeah.
The more you're innocent, the holy name can work.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, probably.
Krishna catches you in the beginning, and then he wants to see your sincerity. And also after a while you have to take to surrender to a spiritual master. This is why we lose, after a while, we lose this taste, because we are not going further. We are staying in our comfort zone, and we are chanting, okay, but he's not giving you taste until you take the next step, and that means you have to surrender to a spiritual master.
Yeah, I like the point, because we are innocent, simple-hearted. Krishna is very simple. You know, like, let's end at this point unless somebody wants to say something. Krishna is so simple. He's living in a village. He's a cowherd boy. He's living in a village. He loves simplicity. He just wants to play with his friends and eat something from Mother Yashoda. But we are so opposite. We are not simple-hearted. And you see, you know, like the most amazing people are the simple-hearted ones. They have no motive, no like perverted desires when you're talking to them. They're just Haribol, and you see how much taste they have because they are simple-hearted. And Krishna like simplicity. He doesn't like duplicity. Prabhuji.
Like the principle is there that when you hear the holy name first time, or you chant it first time, if you just pronounce it, that's the best you can do, because you don't know anything. So it's considered namabhas. Namabhas means you get some experience.
Shadow. Yeah.
But then if you come to the temple, and they will tell you some things, you're not this body, there are 10 offenses. So many things they will tell you. So if you don't consider all these things which you hear, and if you don't practice that, then you go down to Namaparad, because you don't, because you know more. Like you say, the name is not different from Krishna. So if you hear this, you have a duty to try to understand it. And if you don't try, then, or if we don't try, then we don't give then we don't do our best anymore. And if we don't do our best, then it's offensive. If we give our best, that's namabhas. We try, and then we can make advancement too. But if we don't give our best, and the more we get, the more it means. So the more we have to endeavor. That's my humble understanding about this topic.
Yes, thank you. It's very much dependent on the mood, like you said. In the mood how we chant, in the mood how we take prasad, how we do everything. Like sometimes, that's in the last day, sometimes asking devotees, can you sing Prasada Sevaya? And they're like, what? Prasada Sevaya. We are serving the prasad, you know. We are not enjoying the prasad, because once you are thinking, I'm enjoying the prasad, I'm enjoying the holy name, you're not getting any benefit. It's not this. You're not getting the same purification. I enjoy prasad every day, unfortunately, but it should be like not so extreme, but it should be in the proper mood that I'm serving the prasad, I'm serving the holy name. And once you think I can enjoy the holy name, I can enjoy Krishna. Wow, first experience chanting the holy name Kirtan was so amazing. So now I want to enjoy it again, and it's gone. Because you cannot enjoy Krishna. Krishna should enjoy you, or you can enjoy with Krishna, but it takes time. Yeah. Okay. So if that's it, it's a good time to end. Srimad Bhagavad-Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai.